Islam, peace, and many blessings unto all of you who may be viewing this. I am the Amexem-Moor-Empire Constitutional Monarch. I am the Emperor An Anu El Bey, and on behalf of the entire Amexem-Moor-Empire National Collective, it is my good pleasure to come forth before you briefly to discuss the Amexem-Moor-Empire Department for the Agriculture, particularly our hydroponics operations. Currently up in the northeast corridor in the Port Hannah City in the Hanau District, we have these operations available. We're now going to begin to expand these operations into the Amexem-Moor-Empire in Pearl City, Agade Medina, and then on into the southern region into the Mid-Atlantis. Hydroponics is a very good way to grow your food or your medicine. I must admit to you, it's extremely, extremely expensive. Anyone that's thinking about going into that enterprise needs to have that well in mind. It is not easy and it is very expensive. That said on the front end, let me give you a little bit of a background on why I say what I just said. Hydroponics is when you grow food in water as opposed to soil. When you use water as your medium of food growth or medicine growth, when you place your seeds in the containers to grow them in that fashion, there's already water there. And inside the water you can put nutrients and micronutrients so that when you put the seeds into this solution, this water solution, it allows them to already have everything they need right there for excellent growth. So those plants are never deficient in any shape, way, fashion, or form. Therefore, they're better textured and better for you. When you grow food in soil, on the other hand, well, they have to grow roots to look for water, nutrients, and micronutrients that may and may not be in that soil. So obviously, the seeds in those stages and in the early stages of that plant growth may very well be deficient and don't always come out to be the best for you. Therefore, you could probably see the advantage of growing the food hydroponically as opposed to using soil as your medium of growth. Now, the reality of all this is, when you grow food hydroponically, lighting is very important. If you have 25 tables growing 25 heads of cabbage each, well, that's a lot of cabbage. And between 40 and 45 days is when you're going to have your harvest of it. Lighting is huge with this because you have to have one light per table. And these lights have to be fixed in such a manner as to make sure that all of the leaves of the various plants are getting sufficient light. Very, very, very important factor here when you're growing food hydroponically. Now, the lighting is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty of why it's so expensive. You're talking about 25 tables that have to use 1,000-watt light bulbs each. That's 25 of these light bulbs, sodium halide light bulbs that imitate ultraviolet light at 1,000 watts apiece. And you're talking about burning them, if it's flowers you're growing, probably 18 hours out of the day. If you're talking about things heavy in chlorophyll, well, now you're talking about burning that 1,000-watt light bulb on 25 different tables, 24 hours a day. Clearly, it is not cheap. One other factor here is, when you grow your food hydroponically or your medicine hydroponically, hydroponics is very unforgiving in nature. Hugely unforgiving. You can lose a whole crop in 90 seconds because of water temperature is incorrect pH balance. It's just not a good thing. So you have to watch your crop 24 hours. So between watching your crop 24 hours to make sure you have proper pH and proper nutrient, micronutrient solution and proper water levels is one thing. And then also having to deal with light bulbs that have to be changed every 11 months after usage. Very expensive proposition. However, at least you know with hydroponics, which you're growing indoors, there are less predators on your crops. Less predators and better for you in terms of the quality. These are hard things to deny. But again, it's very, very, very expensive. So when you engage in these things, you may want to have a counterbalance. Our counterbalance within the Amexem-Moor-Empire Department for the Agriculture is to also use greenhouse operations, where you're not just going to be relying on hydroponics operations, but you can grow other things using the greenhouse. Certain things you can't grow on a hydroponics table, if you're going to grow soybeans or corn so you can produce your own biodiesel fuel or ethanol, well, you can't use hydroponics for that. However, you can use a greenhouse for that. So with these comments, I'm giving you an idea of the why behind the operations of the Amexem-Moor-Empire Department for Agriculture. It is for food growth operations, it is for medicine operations, but also for fuel. Because when you can grow all the components of biodiesel fuel and ethanol on your own, that gives you energy independence, food independence, and medicine independence. And these are very, very, very important factors if you're going to engage in your own independence and sovereignty. And so these are the reasons as to why these are so important unto the Amexem-Moor-Empire National Collective and all of our posterity. And so with that, I thank you for taking a few moments to share this experience. And on behalf of the entire Amexem-Moor-Empire National Collective, peace and Islam.